Welcome back to this episode of the Iowa Beef Collective. I am your host, Patrick Wall. Iowa Beef Collective is powered by our friends at StockGuard. Reach out to stockguard.io for all your risk management needs on the beef side. They actually have an online portal system where you can set it up for yourself. You can purchase a set of feeder cattle, and while you're sitting there, buy LRP and LGM insurance on those and have them locked in before you ever even leave the barn or get them on feed. So appreciate the folks at StockGuard for joining us on the sponsorship side. Appreciate having them on here for the entire season. So thanks to the folks at StockGuard. That's stockguard.io. With me today is the department chair for Iowa State University Department of Animal Science, Jason Ross. We're going to talk about something new and exciting here, and I'll just turn it over to you and let you introduce yourself to the audience, what your role is here, and
Sure.
how long you've been here, and maybe kind of dive right into what the new major is and what it's intended to do.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Patrick. It's a pleasure to be on here with you. And as you mentioned, my name's Jason Ross. I've been at Iowa State University since 2008 as a faculty member in the Animal Science Department. I was actually a student here in the Animal Science Department as well as an undergraduate student, and have worked in the faculty since 2008, as I said, and have been serving as the Animal Science Department chair for the last 4 years. So, which has been a remarkable journey, and love being here, love leading the department, love seeing all the exceptional work that the faculty and the staff do that are associated with the department, and also the students. The students right now, we have a little over 1,000 undergraduate students in our department, as well as about 45 faculty members and about 85 graduate students. So it's a busy department working in a lot of different areas.
Let's talk about trend lines a bit, and we don't have to dive in real deep or go back too far, but if you're 30,000-foot view of the industry, people think, well, the animal industry is shrinking, right?
Right.
Animal science enrollment wouldn't really indicate that.
Right.
So how are we sitting, holding serve, flatline, increasing?
Yeah, we've been pretty steady, I would say, the last decade. Iowa State University's enrollment peaked in 2016, and that would have been when our department peaked as well. But we've kind of held steady, up and down a few since then in the last decade. I think it's been very strong enrollment. Some of the trends that we see is that we're seeing an increased out-of-state enrollment. So that percentage has grown a little bit over that period of time. I would say that we see still very broad interest in those students coming into the department as far as what their species interests are, what they want to do when they graduate. Obviously many of them are pre-veterinarian students. Mm-hmm. And we work really hard to make sure that we're giving them an exceptional foundation to have success in veterinary college. But, many of them, our placement rates have been exceptional, in the upper 90s every year. And, so the students are getting jobs, even though the enrollment has been really high. The students are getting jobs when they graduate. And I think we're going to continue to work hard at that. We have, we engage employers a lot and ask for their feedback on our curriculum. We have advisory reviews of our curriculum as well, and ask a lot of questions about how we need to evolve. So I would say that's one of the things that's changed. If you were to look at our approach in the last 10 or 15 years, we evaluate the curriculum every year. It's a continuous improvement process to, strategically position our program to create a competitive advantage for the students that come here.
And I know, I don't want to date myself, but in my work with the provost through Professional and Scientific Council, he was talking about the ebb and flow of international students.
Yeah.
And how recruiting them is completely different than it was even 5-10 years ago. Animal science is no different.
Right.
We get some international interest as well. The swine industry is not the same as it was 10-15 years ago either. So I understand the evolvement of recruiting and curriculum, and it's good to see that we're not just teaching the same stuff we always teach, which kind of lets us get right into the new major. Tell them what's being offered and what it is.
Yeah, so we do have a new major. It starts this fall, and that was really a process that started about 3 years ago, and we created in the department a task force of faculty members to really address, what do the students of the future need to be skilled in from a workforce standpoint. And we also ask the question, what do employers want in the future from a skill set of those students that they hire from our program? And, honestly, we had the dairy science and the animal science major. They're great majors. But when we ask alumni from those majors, that are 3 to 5, 8 years out from their degree, what do you wish you would have known and learned while you're at Iowa State that you're using now in your career or your profession? And we also ask the same question of employers. What do you wish our graduates were better skilled in when you hired them? And a lot of those things came back to, elements of business acumen. Data and technology is rapidly changing in agriculture right now, particularly in animal agriculture. So the amount of data, regardless of species we're talking about, the amount of data that those production systems have is, an overwhelming amount compared to 10, 15 years ago. And so how do you utilize data and make production decisions, management decisions, business decisions as it relates to animal agriculture or animal enterprises? And so we really, then that group of faculty members got together and said, okay, what do we have at Iowa State that our students aren't getting exposed to, whether it's in our department, in the College of Ag, or even in another college on campus that these students should be skilled in. And so we, the team really took, an exhaustive approach of what are the courses and the curriculum that will help us accomplish these goals. And so we changed things, right? And it wasn't just a shift in animal science, because that's a really successful major. Those students do great. What we wanted to do is take how do we establish those animal agriculture or animal science skills in students, but then give them these additional opportunities and characteristics as they work through their degree program. And so we've took some courses out that would have been in the animal science degree, and we've added in courses that include topics like supply chain management, business management, entrepreneurship for those students that are thinking about running their own enterprise or in a business unit of an organization that's relevant to animal agriculture. And then we also added in courses on a different pathway, right? You could go down a business management pathway, you could go down an entrepreneurship pathway, and you can also go down a data and technology pathway. So we created a new course as part of that, a capstone course that is, how to incorporate precision livestock technologies, how to utilize them in agricultural systems that are reliant on livestock, and how do you make use of that data? What are the decisions that you can now make if you understand how to use this massive amount of data? And so that's kind of the capstone piece of that. And so it's generated a lot of interest. We're just heading into the first full year of recruiting for that major, but there's a lot of interest in current students too. Can I double major in animal science and AEI? Should I switch from animal science to AEI? And it's really about, they're not competing majors. It's for us as a department, when we considered it, it's really about having the pathways that are going to help students achieve their goals to the highest degree possible.
So we're calling it AEI.
AEI, Animal Enterprise and Innovation.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Those that have been following along with this podcast the last couple of months, we've got a lot on technology, a lot on innovation. I can tell you right now with some confidence, if you're a farm kid that understands artificial intelligence, there's a job.
Right.
Probably by noon tomorrow.
Right.
There's a lot of growth in that area. And, we had a guest on just a couple weeks ago, and how they'll air in this order, I'm not quite sure yet, but he has no livestock background at all.
Right.
But he's a software engineer.
Right.
So he's had to learn that and has been very successful at it. But if you were to work it the other direction and had a young person that understood the animal industry, the technology companies that are wanting to enter into this space is incredible.
Right, right.
If I'm a current student here, what does it look like if I switch majors from animal science? What are the classes? Is it the electives in the 400 and 500 level or 1,000 level? Now that we've changed our system. What changes Is it the core basics the first 2 years the same, or is it a whole new path from your freshman year on?
It's really the first 2 years are really similar between the animal enterprise and innovation major and the animal science major. So there's a lot of similarities those first 2 years. The junior year is really where it starts to change. And so in the animal science major, we would get into the disciplines, the scientific disciplines related to animal science, like reproductive physiology, breeding and genetics, animal nutrition. And so those are some of the courses that we pulled out to introduce courses like supply chain management and different option menus from either entrepreneurship or technology. And then the senior level, there's some capstone courses that tie all those components back in and focus on how do you, now that you understand technology, you understand animal production systems, how do you tie those things together to make management decisions to move an area forward?
And I guess to work this from another angle, if I'm Tyson IBP, for as long as I can remember, they've been hiring animal science majors or ag studies majors even, and they don't call it that, but they're working in supply chain management.
Right.
It is throughput of the process of the meat industry.
Right.
So I would imagine they are thirsty for somebody that understands supply chain management with an animal background.
Right. Yeah, you're 100% right, Patrick. And, what we see when we talk to employers and across a lot of different fields, there's a lot of times they'll hire a student or a graduate that say is, a meat scientist, and yet they need to teach them some other elements for them to be successful in their company. Or if they go hire an ag systems engineer, they've got to teach them meat science, right? And for them to be successful in the company. And so that was really our strategy, is we've got to start filling in these spaces in between what would have been considered historic disciplines or fields, and really kind of creating that cross-pollination so that students are coming into that workforce a little more prepared, and a little bit more able to make an impact earlier in their career and grow within the company, or go home and have a greater impact on the home business and the home front.
For a lot of students that go here and other places as well, that's always an option for them.
Right.
And some of them come here and think, I'm just going to go home and farm. And they're not home farming.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of them that I'm going to go get a job in this, or this, and they end up going back home farming 10, 12, 15 years later. So I don't think that segment of the industry is really going to change much. It is unfortunately still shrinking slowly, but it is shrinking. So good stuff on the animal innovation and entrepreneur, or
animal enterprises,
and innovation. It's going to take me a while to get that.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll pick your brain moving forward here. What's next? Are we working on other avenues, new majors? What's in the works? Anything you can announce?
That's one big thing that's changed in the last year. What I would say, if you look in the last 4 years, Patrick, what we've done from a curriculum standpoint, and I just got to give the faculty all the credit and the curriculum committee all the credit for the work that they do. We're unique in our department. Our curriculum committee meets every 2 weeks during the academic year. And so they are always looking at, considering new courses or how the courses that we offer are best aligned to achieve our departmental learning objectives. And so we take it very seriously and dedicate time to continuous improvement in that. So throughout that process, some of the other things that have changed in the last 4 years is, or really maybe it started about 5 years ago, is we have production certificates now. And so you can get a beef cattle management certificate. You can get a swine production certificate, an equine certificate, a companion animal certificate, a poultry certificate. And, those are pathways that those certificates require that those students have an internship in that area, right? If it's a species-specific area, that they have an internship to qualify for that management certificate. So that enables students that, are in the animal science degree program to really differentiate themselves for an area that they have the greatest interest. One of the other things that we've done, so that was focused on species, right? Mm-hmm. So then when you think about it from discipline, the scientific discipline that our students, that we want them to leave with, there's options there too. So historically, our department offered 2 minors, an animal science minor and a meat science minor. And we've now added also new this fall that you can get a minor in animal nutrition. That's an area that we've seen A lot of students, incoming students in the last couple of years, a greater percentage of them have expressed interest in animal nutrition. And so it just kind of helps them select from that menu, whether through the majors, certificates, and minors, what pathway they want to create to make themselves more marketable to an employer and more specialized in an area that they want to have success in.
I would imagine the feed industry, the cooperative industry,
Right.
There's a lot of, they expect you to wear more than one hat when you work for them. So yeah, that's good.
And then, we've got students, we also have in collaboration with the AB&E department, the feed milling technologies minor. That's also, we're seeing our students in animal science. Many of them are pursuing that minor as well. And then a couple other things, I think I mentioned a high percentage of the students that come in they're interested in pre-veterinary medicine. And I know on your podcast recently, you've talked about the shortage of food animal veterinarians, not just in Iowa, but really it's a national issue. And so we partnered with the College of Veterinary Medicine a couple of years ago and launched a new program called the PAVEEP program. And it's the Production Animal Veterinary Early Acceptance Program. And that program is tailored to recruit students and develop students that are on their pathway to becoming a veterinarian, but to help cultivate them to be a food animal practitioner in their career. And so the way that works is students that are in our department, at the end of their freshman year, they can apply. They have to take certain courses their freshman year, and at the end of their freshman year, they can apply for early acceptance to the College of Veterinary Medicine. And then the College of Veterinary Medicine reviews those applications and makes selections based on them. And once you're in the PAVEEP program, they have to maintain a specific GPA. They have to earn a farm animal production management certificate in our department. But they also get mentorship and advising from a veterinary faculty member at the College of Vet Medicine. And, it's really to help cultivate those students towards getting the skills and experiences as an undergraduate that are going to enable them to pursue their passion to be a food animal practitioner later in their career. So we're excited about that. We've seen that's been in place for 3 years now, and we've seen increasing interest in that each year as well. So we have, the College of Veterinary Medicine here is one of the best in the world, and particularly when it comes to training farm animal veterinarians or food animal veterinarians. And so there's no better place to have that type of a partnership than here at Iowa State, where we also lead in farm animal production.
And last time I checked, they weren't short on cat and dog vets, so I think we're still pretty good there.
Right. And we, you're right. And we do have, we would have a really high number of companion animal interested students that go on to veterinary school too, and and we need them too. And we need them in practices because the pet industry is also exploding at a national level, not just the industry, but the number of households and the number of pets per households that are increasing. So we need strong companion animal veterinarians as well, and we really we help train many of those in the undergraduate degree here as well, and they go on to be very successful.
And I think for most of our audience, this won't be a shock, but I think for some it might. And it goes clear back to when I was an undergraduate. The female to male ratio in the animal science department, do you track it?
We do, yeah.
And give them the numbers, because I think it would stagger some folks to know.
So I don't remember when the shift began to happen. I think if you'd go back 15 to 25 years ago, it would have been closer to 50-50. Where we're at the last 5 to 10 years is around 78 to 80% would be female, and 20 to 22% would be male. So that's interesting. And I think if you look back at those numbers, really we haven't lost a lot of male students, but we've seen a dramatic increase in the number of, in that period, that 20-year period, we saw a big jump in the number of female students in our program. So I think that's one of the things too, right? I mean, these students are all successful that come through the program, and they go on to have great careers as, in the industry, as, veterinarians, whichever pathway they choose. And I think that's one of the things that, ideally these new majors, these new pathways they have broad appeal. we can continue growing it for both men and women that want to be influencers in agriculture.
Yeah, innovation and entrepreneurship doesn't discriminate on sex.
Right,
I think you'll get them from both, so it's good. Any other parting words of wisdom or anything you want to tell? Obviously, we're probably going to have some potential recruits that listen to this. So give them your 30-second elevator speech on why they ought to come.
I might even take more than 30 seconds.
Okay, you go.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I would say one of the other things that I've noticed that's really that has really led into this in these new majors and even the success of our animal science major is the quality of the faculty in our department. We have just exceptional faculty programs that are national and in many cases international leaders in their field. I think that's one thing that a lot of people don't appreciate until maybe they get here or maybe even shortly after they graduate is that, well, the people that we're teaching my animal nutrition course are, have published hundreds of research papers in this field and are invited all over the world to come talk about their expertise in this field. And that's who's teaching my class. And that doesn't happen everywhere. That's not commonplace anymore. And so, we're really fortunate to have great faculty programs in all these disciplines that we work with in animal science. So I think that's a major value add for the students that come to Iowa State University is they're getting. I always tell students that you're going to use a textbook anywhere, but a lot of the faculty here have contributed to the science that helped write the textbooks.
Yep.
And who better to learn it from? So, the other thing then as our degrees have changed, as the research fields have changed, I think that was really a part of the driving component of the new major. One of the things that I would say in the last 3 to 4 years, in 4 years, we've hired about 13 new faculty members in the department. And, what they bring from a research program or an extension program really is in, this area of precision technologies, whether their background is in genetics or nutrition or epidemiology, their incorporation of artificial intelligence, the incorporation of sensor technologies to improve the field of genetics, their, data management systems and their application in agriculture. These are the skill sets from their research programs that they bring now because that's where the industry is moving, right? And our research programs are on the cusp of where the industry is at. And so that naturally here then affects what we teach our undergraduate students because the value of having extension faculty and research faculty teach in our undergraduate program is that they're getting the newest information in their courses. And, those extension faculty that are out in the industry hearing what's going on, the challenges, the problems, whether it's, disease threats or disease pressures, New World screwworm, to be able to have that context and bring that into the classroom for those students so they are the most up to date on what they're learning is really valuable. And that in effect changes our curriculum over time because we're on the front edge of the industry. We're going to be on the front edge of curriculum development.
I'll drive it home for you.
Yeah.
My wife and I have worked in animal science since we left here, 20 plus years for both of us. And she's been on the swine side. I've been on the beef side in multiple different facets. And never, ever has anyone said, oh, you went to Iowa State and thought that, oh, they're not going to know what they're doing.
Right.
The degree from here is marketable. They've been hiring people. Placement's been through the roof forever.
Right.
So prospective students, like a degree in animal science from Iowa State still matters. It always has. So get your butt to Ames.
That's right.
Excited about the new major and what it can do, who it can recruit. And I think it will appeal to some students that maybe didn't think an animal science department degree was for them. So
right.
Good stuff. And appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Absolutely.
And telling us all about it. Those of you at home, appreciate you joining in this week for the Iowa Beef Collective. Any of you out there that have listened to episodes, we need impact. So shoot us an email, give us a text message, or call me on the phone and let me know what episodes have impacted your operation. We need to track this and keep it going. As always, find us on the socials. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Appreciate you joining in. Tune in 2 weeks from now, and we'll bring you another episode of the Iowa Beef Collective.
This institution is an equal opportunity provider. For the full non-discrimination statement or accommodation inquiries, go to www.extension.iastate.edu/legal.